Hello, Elena Salks here from Riverview Gardens and Gifts, and I'm here today to tell you about this really cool new perennial that we got in today called the Helleborus. Helleborus is an amazing plant because it has flowers in the wintertime. Now these plants were grown in a greenhouse, so they are blooming a little bit early, but typically when they're growing in your garden, they start blooming sometime around mid-February, and then they bloom for 6 to 8 weeks. In fact, the Helleborus is often referred to as the Lenten rose because it blooms around the Christian Lent. They come in lots of different colors. This one is a yellowy white color. Behind me, we have one that has this beautiful pink and white color to it. I have another that's a wonderful deep burgundy purple color. And then I have another over here that hasn't started blooming yet, but it's a dark purple, almost black color. Helleborus have these wonderful little flowers on them, again, that bloom in the wintertime. And what I think is really interesting about these flowers is that the petals of the flower are actually sepals. So typically, when you have a bloom, you have your petals, and then underneath them, you have these little green, almost leaf-like structures that are there to protect the bud when it's a bud before it blooms, and there to protect the flower as well once it's open. In this case, the sepals have evolved to be the thing that has color on the flower, and the petals have evolved into what are called nectaries. So if you look underneath this flower, you see this little ring of lime green cone-shaped petals. These are formed into the nectaries. These are the nectaries. And much like the name suggests, the nectaries produce nectar. And what that does is it attracts the very few pollinators that are out and about in February and March. Because as you would expect, in wintertime there aren't many pollinators flying around. Another important thing to note about the flowers is that they change color when they're pollinated. And I can show you that with this one. So here we have the flower that has not been pollinated yet, and it's this beautiful green-yellow color. And right next to it, we have a flower that has been pollinated. You can see it's lost its stamen, and the color of the sepals has changed to a darker color. So this happens with each Helleborus flower. Once it's pollinated, its color changes, which makes it a really, really dynamic plant in the garden. In terms of care, this is a plant that actually likes dappled shade. So it likes a part shade, which is very difficult to find. It's hard to find flowers and beautiful plants that like the shade. And it has evergreen leaves. So these leaves stay throughout the winter. They're these thick, leathery leaves. In this case, they're kind of a silvery green color, but they do come in other styles. So this one that has a pinkish white flower has these beautiful leaves that have this wonderful variegation in their veining. And again, like I said, they'll stay all winter. In terms of care, you can leave the leaves on. Some people cut this plant back in early February before the new growth begins. What I like to do is I like to leave the leaves on, and then once the new growth has started, I will selectively prune out any of the old leaves that are looking raw and ragged from the year before. Helleborus likes to have rich, well-drained soil, so if you plant this in a swampy area of your garden, it's not going to be happy. A great place to put this is on a shady hillside because it provides well-drained soil because it's on the hillside, but also because, as you notice, the flowers point downward. And so if you plant it up on a hillside, you can look up the hill and see the wonderful faces of the flowers looking down at you. So these Helleborus are $28.99. We have about 30 to 40 plants in lots of different varieties. So come stop by Riverview today and pick up your own. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.